What's up guys, Bungie's updated a few things for us so we can get a much faster playstyle with this build, and this build allows our primary exotic to hit like a truck. Now I don't want to seem like a nuisance, but Fighting Line is in style this season as we have a weakened clear combined with the fact that it has unlimited ammo. Fighting Line does a lot of damage, and combined with the right aspects, we can maximize our damage output and spam grenades to keep everything frozen so we can maneuver the content with ease. Now, every now and again you do need a Stasis Warlock to lock down an area and keep the enemies frozen so you can progress in the activity, and also this build is usable in PvP. I ran into a few Warlocks using this build in PvP and was surprised at how often they froze me and got free kills. I mean, which really was, it just blew my mind. It was just, you basically get free kills because the cold snap grenades now track the targets instead of locating their last known location. But enough deviations, let's jump straight into the build. The weapon of choice is Fighting Line. We use this in the Hunter build, and we will be bringing it into this build. As stated before, Fighting Line does do a lot of damage to clear out large amounts of enemies, and combined with the fact that it does have unlimited ammo, as I stated before, it's a really solid choice for this season. Grenade launchers are installed, they're installed this season, and we can use weaken clear combined with our Fighting Line, so we are using that 50% debuff on champions and bosses. To jump straight into our aspects, Bungie recently updated a fragment that gives us a 50% damage buff to our primary weapons, which covers Fighting Line. This buff that I am talking about will be about Whisper of Rending, so that it now works with all primary exotic weapons. So this includes any energy weapons that use primary ammo. More specifically, Whisper of Rending now provides damage bonus to stasis crystals and frozen targets for all primary weapons, rather than just kinetic primary weapons. So this actually does cover Fighting Line this season. So we will be combining Whisper of Rending with Whisper of Fissures to combine our shatter damage as well. Now this all sounds good. This all sounds good, but we're not done. Cold snap grenades can now track targets for 0.5 seconds after creation, rather than immediately finding a target and traveling towards their last known location. Like I said, in PvP, this works in PvE as well as PvP. In PvP, that grenade will track your location instead of your last known location. So even if you're trying to dodge and use your Icarus dash out of it, it'll still track towards you. So instead of it just randomly, I know we've all been in a situation where you've thrown a cold snap grenade and it just randomly tracks up onto the wall and it goes nowhere to enemies after it freezes one target. Well, I don't think you have to worry much about that anymore. Cold snap grenades have become a lot more reliable, and that's why the Osmiomancy gloves is our exotic of choice today. With this exotic, we will get 2 charges of our cold snap grenade, and since they're more reliable and more consistent, Osmiomancy gives it the ability to travel further when they do seek targets. The other 2 fragments we will pick up in this build will be Whisper of Change. So while we are near frozen targets, we will take reduced damage from targets. So that damage reduction is very significant, and we do like it, so that's why we are running Whisper of Change. The other fragment we will run will be Whisper of Rhyme. Collecting a Stasis shard grants us a small overshield. So not only by standing near a target that's frozen, once you do freeze that target and you collect those shards, you're not going to be granted an overshield that lasts 10 seconds, so you have even more damage reductions as well as an overshield. Aspects we do run for this build will be Ice Flare Bolt. Spawns after we shatter or frozen target, we're going to spawn Seekers that track and freeze toward other nearby target. Other thing we do rock, which is very important for this build, will be Glacial Harvest, so that when we freeze a target, it's going to create those stasis shards so we can get overshields from those stasis shards. If you want to use and turn it into a turret like build, you can swap out Ice Flare Bolts. Remember, swap out Ice Flare Bolts and not Glacial Harvest, because we need our targets to spawn those stasis crystals. So you can swap out Ice Flare Bolts for Bleak Watcher, so you're able to get those stasis grenades if you need that for high rank content. Other than that, we're going to be rocking cold snap grenades because we're using Osmiomancy gloves, and everything else is pretty much standard. There's only 1 super for Stasis on Warlocks, and we're going to be using Healing Ring. Now after we set up our Stasis subclass and we get the weapons, we're going to be using primary exotic weapons. The build of choice today requires us to use Fighting Line, but you can always swap this out with Wishender or Le Monarch because those are primary exotic weapons, and they do a lot of damage and they will be usable in this build. But for today we're going to be using Fighting Line. Other than that, the next thing we want to do is to be able to spam our grenade consistently, and the way we're able to do that is by using Firepower combined with Elemental Charge combined with Elemental Shard. So since we aren't really making Elemental Wells, we're going to be using our Elemental Shards to grant us the ability to become charged with light. The way we're doing that is by using Elemental Shards. So our Stasis Shards count as Stasis Elemental Wells. once we freeze a target and those stasis shards do pop up around that target and we collect it, it's going to be counted as regular elemental will. So imagine that as using an elemental ordinance. And then we're going to be rocking that with elemental charge. So once we do pick up an elemental well, we're going to become charged with light if it matches our subclass. And since the stasis shards are basically the equivalent to an elemental well, we're going to become charged with light. Once you're charged with light, we're going to be rocking 2 firepower, so we're going to gain roughly around 15% of our grenade back, and that's how we're consistently keeping our grenade up. Other than that, other mods we are rocking currently will be weakened cleared, because we do want to use weakened clear with our fighting line because this is the season for it. And we're rocking solo operative. You can always swap out solo operative if you're not in solo content and just use Lucian's finisher. And that's pretty much it for the build. For the build, we want to be rocking 100 resilience and 100 discipline. If you can't, at least try to build into 100 resilience if you can. Right now I'm rocking 90, but that's pretty much it for the build, guys. Thank you for watching the video, and see you guys next time.